David Miller, a farmer living close to Kruger National Park, went back to his farm following a week's holiday. His old excavator sat peacefully by the border of his field, coated in a layer of arid, solid dirt. He began the machine, the engines. Sound echoing across the wide landscape next to the Kruger Nature Reserve. The morning sun beat on the dry, cracked ground, its heat making him sweat nonstop. David started digging a deep trench, planning to construct a fence to protect his livestock from nearby animals. The dirt was scooped up layer after layer, falling to the sides, forming a long, deep trench. The surrounding area was silent, except for the engine sound and the wind blowing across the parched fields. David concentrated on the controls, his hardened hands grasping the steering wheel tightly, his eyes fixed on the task. In his mind, he just hoped to finish soon so he could get back to his family. However, that seemingly peaceful morning was the start of an unforgettable event. As he dug, David suddenly heard a faint noise coming from the trench ahead. He immediately stopped the machine, his heart beating quickly, trying to listen to ensure it wasn't the machinery. It was a tired moan, at first sounding like a wounded wildcat. David got down from the machine and walked toward the trench's edge, his eyes straining to see. In the dusty soil, he saw the thin shape of a large animal. Getting closer, he was shocked to find it was an exhausted lion, just skin and bones. Its yellow coat was covered in grime, and its body was very thin. It breathed faintly, its trembling legs lightly scratching at the dry, cracked ground. David felt his heart ache, like he was watching life fading away before his eyes. He figured the lion had probably been stuck for several days without food or water. He knelt, his hand shaking as he reached out, hoping for some movement. When he heard a small groan, David knew he needed to act immediately. David quickly took his old cell phone from his pocket and called the number for the Kruger Rangers. His voice trembled as he described the poor state of the dying lion. On the other end of the line, the Rangers promised him they would be there in 30 minutes. David hung up, his heart filled with worry, his eyes still on the helpless animal. He took off his jacket, protecting it from the harsh sun that was burning its thin body. Every second seemed unending, each groan making his heart hurt more. He blamed himself for taking a week off, leaving the trench open and trapping the lion. Maybe if he hadn't taken a long rest, he would have found the lion much sooner. Sitting on the edge of the trench, David prayed that help would arrive before it was too late. In his heart, the fear it would pass away before being rescued made him feel breathless. The sound of a car in the distance made David happily stand, waving his hands. Two rangers, Samuel Kumalo and Jacob Lumini, quickly got out holding a rescue bag. They walked over, their eyes serious, when they saw the skinny lion laying in the ditch. Samuel knelt to check the heart rate, his face slightly concerned at the state of exhaustion. They concluded that the lion had probably been trapped there for 5 days. Jacob said softly, "No need for anesthesia. It is so weak it has no strength to fight back." David heard this, feeling both relieved and heartbroken at the sad reality. The two rangers quickly talked about a rescue plan, not wasting any time. Samuel turned to remind David to put up barriers during future construction to avoid accidents for people and animals. David lowered his head guiltily, promising to never repeat this error. They prepared the rope and a thick blanket, ready to lift the lion out of the ditch. The atmosphere was serious. Every movement was careful to the smallest detail. David stood by, his heart pounding, quietly praying that the fragile animal would be saved. Samuel held the front legs, Jacob held the back legs together. They worked together to lift the skinny lion. David helped tighten the rope, his hands shaking but determined not to let go of the chance to save it. Little by little, the heavy but tired body was lifted out of the dry, cracked ditch. Sweat rolled down all three of their foreheads. Their breathing was fast in the tense, stifling moment. The lion opened its eyes faintly, then closed them again, letting out a long breath. They placed it on the thick blanket, covering it with a cover to keep its body temperature steady. Carefully, they carried it to the truck, getting ready to take it away immediately. David sighed in relief, his eyes filled with a small hope. The car began moving, dust rising as it left the farm. David stood still, watching, praying that the lion would survive. The car arrived at a small veterinary clinic near Kruger National Park, where a team of vets was prepared. The lion was moved to the emergency room, bright white lights shining down on its exhausted body. The doctor did a thorough examination, his face serious with severe malnutrition. The conclusion: it was severely dehydrated and tired and needed immediate 4 fluids and supplements. The 4 was attached, each drop of liquid dripping down, keeping a faint hope for life. The first day, it just lay still, eyes closed, breathing faintly as if it was about to pass away. The doctor and nurse took turns on duty, recording each vital sign. David called to check on it, his voice trembling with constant worry. Samuel and Jacob also came, often offering encouragement that there was still a chance. Time passed like a race against death. Everyone watched every breath on the second day. The lion's breathing was more steady. Its body no longer shook violently. On the third day, the doctor happily reported it could sit up, drink water, and eat some soft meat. David came to visit, touched to see its eyes open, its stare weak but full of life. Samuel smiled, saying the recovery was going better than they thought. Each day, it slowly stood up, walking unsteadily but stronger than before. Jacob brought more fresh meat, helping it quickly regain its energy. A week passed. Its body was full of vitality, its eyes were brighter, its steps were more stable. David felt relieved, as if he had been freed from a burden that had troubled him for many days. The doctors confirmed that it was ready to leave the intensive care unit. Plans were immediately made to move the lion into a semi-wild enclosure. The lion was moved to a semi-wild enclosure in Kruger National Park to recover naturally. It walked slowly but with purpose, its eyes shining with a new life. David, Samuel, and Jacob watched, their hearts filled with immense joy. The Rangers said that in a few months it would be able to return to the wild. David silently prayed that he would always remember this day as a miracle in everyday life.